Okay, I got the red smoke.
Gun runs north to south, west of the smoke, west of the smoke.
Okay, copy. West of the smoke. I'm looking at danger close now.
Come on with it, baby. Give it to me. I need it. Get cleared hot.
Copy, cleared hot.
Yeah. Windows versus Mac.
Yeah, I'm
Military's all Windows.
correct. It's all about PowerPoints. That's why, you know.
Well, I have a Mac sitting here in front of me that I don't think that's on camera, and shockingly enough, they have the entire Microsoft suite.
Yeah, me too. I have it just because of working with the military. I got to pull up submit this as a PowerPoint. You know.
How's that journey been working with the military?
Well, you know, it's interesting.
Let's separate military members. And then military writ large.
So, well, the good thing is 9% of my military dealing is on an individual basis. It's not on...
You're very lucky.
Yeah, though interestingly enough, I'm working on a real Made in America project that will be, you know, I have to go through the whole gauntlet of getting a contract and all that, which is interesting, but
to meet the Berry compliance.
Well, so it's going to be Berry, but then you've got to submit, you know, pretty much your DNA strand to you know, to get that. A lot of stuff, but it is what it is. But
you might be able to get away with the individual stuff for a while you're working with smaller, more targeted units. To get to the bigger ordering systems, that you might start bouncing up against contracting. So
here's what is kind of a lot of people you probably know, but not the general public. Again, why I get into this is military is underserved. No one cares about their feet, you know. So that's when I came in and, you know, like, hey, you know, you bought a lot of COTS stuff, but like, what if we change some of it to make it so it might work for your needs, you know?
Yeah, and COTS stands for commercial off the shelf or over the shelf. Yeah, I've heard it both ways.
Right. So, but in any event, so every person in the military gets 2 pair of boots a year.
Not all boots are created equal.
Right. And what a lot of those people do is they throw them in their closet. So with that, people go out and buy their own boots.
Yeah, super common practice.
Right. So about 75% of the military buys their own boots. Now there's a new thing going forward called the Boots Act. They're trying to...
Is it literally called that?
It's called that.
I mean, at least for one of the few times in recent history and memory, the bill is actually what it's titled.
Right, but it's being pushed by a bunch of folks that are making very compliant stuff.
Yeah.
Saying that any soldier that has to be wearing a Made in America boot, or and they're trying to move any base supply store that has to be selling only Berry compliant boots. Well, they did what was called, not a war game scenario a few years back. Like, if, you know, let's do the war game scenario. Like, major war, can we supply everybody with Berry compliant boots? And it was a no. And when this Boots Act, there's some of the major brands have come out and said, we don't agree with it because we can't supply everybody.
Well, or they could, and the price point would be just not palatable.
Yes and no. I mean, the boots that they're making right now, I mean, sadly, U.S. boot manufacturing isn't bad. The spec is bad. It's like from 1980, and it hasn't been changed at all. So you got some, I sent you probably one of everything. I don't know if you got it. And you saw I don't know if you saw the 8-inch boots.
I did.
Yeah, if you took them out of the box. So, I mean, those
I took them all out of the box.
Yeah, okay, good.
My son may have absconded with a pair.
If he was your size.
He is my size, shockingly enough. He's, I don't know if he's done growing. His foot is the same size as me, but he's a few inches shorter than me.
How old?
20.
Oh.
He's getting to the top end of... Yeah.
Being done.
I feel like I should be able to look down upon him for the remainder of my life, just a little bit, even if it's just emotionally. No, I opened all of them. I actually really like the low-top stuff, the ones that are a little bit more, I'd call them like a skater shoe design. Yeah, that's more my jam.
Well, we did that because, you know, as you know, a lot of guys, West Coast guys more so, I think some of the guys on the East Coast now, wearing Vans only for doing their stuff.
Well, that's because some of those East Coast guys started on the West Coast.
Exactly. I know that, yeah. But so that's the cool, but so we wanted to make one that worked so that, you know, so I got a lot of guys in CAG, a lot of guys in Dev Group wearing that shoe. There was someone forwarded me a Reddit post a few weeks ago, and it was like CAG and a little bird, and they were wearing like that, and then the 6-inch like military-looking boot.
Yeah.
So it has a carbon plate in it.
Yeah.
So
I always chose, I mean, to me, I always figured that my footwear was consumable.
yeah.
For the vast majority of my operational deployments, I was a place that had a budget that we should probably call robust.
Right.
So I could get 4 pair
Right.
and, 30 to 45 days, and you're hucking them out.
Exactly.
Not everybody has the ability to do that.
One-time use, yeah.
Yeah, I try to get more than one time out of them, but if you wanted to get crazy, you probably could push it.
Yeah.
We should explain Berry compliance.
Berry compliant is the
Can
Berry.
you pull up the acronym, Michael? Isn't it, what is it, BER?
BERRY,
Yeah.
Berry Amendment.
Yeah.
And the Berry Amendment states that anything that is sold to the military that is textile base must be.
Today's episode is brought to you by Montana Knife Company. We're heading right over to the website right meow. Check this out. The Ultimate Hunting Truck Giveaway, sponsored by MKC. You can win the truck of a lifetime. They have teamed up with some of the most iconic brands in the outdoor industry to create the ultimate hunting rig. $100K in total prizes. What do you need to do to become a part of this? Look at this. Your email address or your phone number, and you can sign up now. Requires you to purchase absolutely nothing. I do not believe it comes with this elk rack that is on top. Now, if you're just a fan of the brand, then here you go. Stone Goat 2.0 looks like it's in stocked, and they have restocked the PVD Stone Goat 2.0. So as I'm scrolling down, these are what they currently have in their inventory that you could order right now. This is not everything, trust me, because we can go over here to the View All, and this is where you're going to see some that are sold out and others that are not. These things sell out pretty quickly. They also have, this is good, we're getting down to the accessory, they have sharpener, blade wax. This new knife here, the Great Falls Skinner, I need to get my hands on one of these bad boys. But if you're into knives, if you're into supporting a brand that is Montana born, bred, raised, and evolving and growing, MontanaKnifeCompany.com. Think about Christmas. Stocking stuffer. Don't put it in the stocking without the Kydex sheath that it comes with, please. Like safety first. Let's not cut our hands and fingers. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you have somebody in your life who is a blade aficionado, they are going to love getting one of these either under the tree or in the stocking. But act now. Sign up for their mailing lists. They release blades every Thursday and Saturday. Sometimes they only release them to their text message group. So sign up for all of those things. And then over to MontanaKnifeCompany.com to get everything you may need. When they ask you, tell them that I sent you. Back to the show.
Made in USA.
There's a key word in there too, entirely.
Yeah, exactly. And that means from fiber forward, they say.
Yeah.
So if it states
specifically covered items like clothing, textiles, food, and dinnerware.
I don't know about the dinnerware because I don't do dinnerware.
Yeah. For a product to be compliant, all components, including raw materials, must be sourced domestically from fabric and thread, as you said, to final assembly.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean...
So, but here's the problem. So I grew up literally in learning my shoemaking in New England shoe factories in Maine, right?
Not a whole lot of that left.
No. I mean, like, yeah. So I'd always wanted to be in footwear. I was a runner, grew up in a little town called Holliston, Massachusetts. It was Nike's first East Coast warehouse. So they did all their R&D in New Hampshire.
Okay.
And because that's where, shoemaking was, a little place called Exeter. And because the warehouse had a lot of, former high schoolers, we got all like the castaway leftover shoes custom made for the pros. So I grew up wearing custom-made Nikes. It was pretty cool.
It's a nice benefit.
Yeah, it was really cool. So, I mean, I got totally into, footwear that way. And then, would literally tear them apart to see what they're made of and all that. And that's how I got into that. So, I digress. Getting back to Berry. But and then the shoemaking. So then I worked for a brief stint at Nike, and then they moved their out of college, and they moved their R&D to Oregon. So half the people said I'm not going. So all the New England shoe companies benefited. So I one of the guys pulled me and went to a thing called Hyde Athletic Industries, which at the time was the owner of Saucony and Spot Built, if you remember the brand Spot Built.
I remember Saucony, but not Spot Built.
Spot Built was a cleated brand, like O.J. Simpson wore Spot Built.
For football? We're talking bat and ball sports?
Football, yeah.
Okay.
They also had Hyde-made skates. So like the Boston Bruins wore Hyde, Bobby Orr,
also
old
not
guys.
my forte.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so they owned Saucony. They had a factory in Maine. They threw me up there. I learned literally, they had a model shop. I learned all from Italian and Portuguese immigrants, how to cut patterns, how to stitch, all that. Went up to the factory in Maine, literally worked every piece of machinery, threw me overseas where most shoes were being made in Taiwan and Korea at the time. Worked there for a few months, then got recruited to Adidas, where I worked mainly literally traveling probably 2 months at a whack. So I'd go to France first at the development center. From there, I'd go to Germany, the headquarters in Herzogenaurach, Adi, as you say. And then to Asia. So every trip was around the world.
Damn.
So yeah, well before, and the reason being is before the internet. So we would fax things over, and like blueprints or design, and you'd wait. You'd wait for the mold to be opened. So, and then I got recruited from there into this little company that was just starting called Reebok. So. Which
eventually, so was it owned by or a subsidiary of Audi at the time, or did that come later?
No. That was like in the late 80s, just literally when the pump had come out. Like I started that day.
That shoe made that brand for sure.
Yeah. So a buddy and one of my closest buddies too, we got recruited from Audi or Adidas there, and kind of helped elevate their product development. They had a lot of called older shoe dogs, so we were the young bucks, and then and the place just took off, not because of us, but it was just anything they put after the pump, just went crazy.
I feel like it's time for the pump to come back.
It is. It's back. Well, Reebok's kind of
like
hurting.
In a major way. No, what are you talking about? Reebok's not hurting at all. They've made great decisions.
As you know. As you know.
I'm sure that UFC contract really played out well for them.
Yeah. No, they they're owned now by
oh, that's right. Audi spun them off.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
They sold out, and they are owned by a place that sadly is nicknamed "Where Brands Go to Die," because it's a big shop that owns umptuous brands.
Just a conglomerate.
And then now they're being sold at Walmart. So it's not the Reebok I grew up with.
Yeah. I want to go back to the Barry.
Okay. Oh, so yeah. So,
no. I'm curious because I'm thinking about this, and you were saying that the big brands, massive war, wouldn't be able to outfit in Barry compliance stuff. There's pros and cons to it for sure. I understand why that exists, but it does also limit to a degree. And there are ways around the Barry compliance. I mean, depending on where you're at, you might have discretionary funds where you can buy things. But
at the secret squirrel level. Yeah, absolutely. Or sometimes a unit level.
Yeah, but not always.
Right.
And I understand why they do it, but given the modern, shall we say, ecosystem of production, is there an argument to be made that in certain areas, maybe not body armor and things that are, well, you could say that shoes are first line as well too. I don't know. I worry that it would be overly restrictive sometimes as well.
If I mean, this is a crazy shoe fantasy. If I won the big Powerball tomorrow,
$1.7 billion.
Yeah, let's hope. I got to buy my ticket. I lost yesterday, but I would actually try. I'd work for free for Natick or DEVCOM to rewrite the specs, because the specs are horrific.
For Barry?
Yeah. It's again. We can make good boots in America, but there's only like a few suppliers.
Yeah.
If I go to Asia today to develop a new shoe for OTB, I have 100 million suppliers around me. I have catalogs of materials. I have manufacturing processes, the most up-to-date equipment.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's developing there, right, and producing there. So you just don't have that. The supply chain used to be like that in the U.S. It ain't no more, sadly.
How rapidly did that disappear?
So it probably started in the 70s with Nike really pushing over there.
Were they the first to head overseas?
One of the first. And then Adidas followed, and then the rest of the brands followed. And what they were chasing is cheap labor. That's it. When it comes down to it, the largest portion, one of the biggest costs of the shoe was labor. So that's what they did, and that's it. I mean, you've seen, you know, I don't know, have you been to a U.S. shoe factory?
No, the only shoe factory I've ever been to was the ones we saw in Fuzhou.
Yeah, you went to Fuzhou.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So that was Qinglu, I believe, is probably the name of the factory.
Couldn't tell you for $1 million
right.
on the table.
Yeah, that's the name of the factory that was. I'm sure they're working with for the CrossFit stuff.
It was, yes.
Yeah.
Fascinating to see the soup to nuts on how that gets created.
Yeah, I mean, people don't realize that. Everyone thinks it's all automated.
Well, it was automated by people.
But there's just
doing incredibly, and we're to the point of rolling the ink stamp on the shoe on both sides.
Right. Yeah. I mean, people with a little toothbrush putting the cement on the bottom. Yeah. To stick on the bottom.
Or, you know, on the sole of the CrossFit shoes, they had rebranded and gone with the Delta logo, which was red. Watching them produce just that little red piece that had to be put into the honeycomb of other stuff for the bottom of the shoe.
Right. Yeah,
holy
I mean,
cow.
I think at the time, you know, we counted about 1,000 people touched a shoe before it was made.
They let me make a few pair.
Yeah.
I don't think they went to market.
Probably not. They went into the B or C grade bin.
Yeah, if not straight into just a garbage can.
Right, or getting chopped up. But yeah, so that's why it's over there. It's labor intensive, and you know, it went from, so when Korea and Taiwan labor prices went up, it was easy for the Taiwanese to go to their motherland because they speak the language and the culture. The Koreans had a little more difficult time. They went to the likes of Indonesia. They went to Thailand, Cambodia. So they went all over the place. But the Taiwanese, you know, really owned China. So and I don't know if you've been to Taiwan. Taiwan is extremely progressive, very westernized because Americans, Brits, and Germans kind of brought that back after the war, after World War II. So it's you go there and, you know, it's nice cars, just like, you know, you're in any major metropolitan city, though it's Chinese writing.
Yeah.
So, but
how long did you stay with Reebok? When did you leave?
2000. I was there for almost 13 years.
Yeah, so I missed. I got there. I never got there. Never worked for Reebok, but 2010 it would be.
Right. When
I started working with that brand. Yeah, they were owned by Adidas at that time, and I don't remember them ever actually talking about selling. I mean, not that I had been involved in the conversations, but I don't remember even hearing rumblings of them spinning them off yet.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, my opinion only, I thought it was pretty crazy just to, like, let's just double down on CrossFit only. And drop almost everything else. I thought that was kind of a knucklehead move, quite frankly, from marketing 101.
Well, I only saw that from the CrossFit side of the table. I did become good friends with some people on the Reebok side of the house. I don't know what other options they were even looking at that time. I think that they were in a place, and this is me speaking, and I'm not actually even repeating anything that I heard them say. My description would maybe be is maybe they felt a little bit rudderless. They didn't know which direction to go, and I think they still saw CrossFit on the ascent, which I would say in 2010 it still was on the ascent. So it was, I think, an ability to attach themselves to something that was growing in the modern vernacular and popular culture, and maybe give them just an opportunity to find that direction as they were associated with that brand. That's a complete wag, also known as wild ass guess.
Well, they always typically chased, you know. So I mean, the pump came from copying. I mean, not copying, but Nike had one before that, and then
really?
Yeah, they did actually.
Did they ever have success with it?
It came out, I don't know, like right before, maybe right after, because we got wind of it, or we said at the time Reebok got wind of it. Somebody brought the pump to Reebok. It was an outside invention that was brought in. The team, the folks here kind of, customized it for, their stuff. And then I did one of the second versions for the tennis pump, the Michael Chang tennis pump. Worked on that, but they typically were always looking what's that brand in Oregon doing, or others, and how can we do something quicker or better. Mm-hmm. So Paul Fireman, the then owner, chairman, he was one to like pull stuff out and say, oh, we're going to do this, without just saying it, and then we'd have to just skedaddle and do stuff quickly. thus, I mean, when I was in tennis, I just started and overseeing tennis, and I guess he wasn't media trained. As a director there I was, but so you know what to say in case a microphone is thrust in front of you. But
I enjoy it more when that happens and they're not media trained.
Well, he would
personally,
he would probably be in HR a lot today, but no, I mean, not a bad guy. But in any event, he was at an investor conference soon after, like, they went public, and what's next? And he goes, well, we're gonna have a tennis pump with a fuzzy tennis ball, and we're going to deliver it at the French Open, right?
Please tell me that's like 2 weeks away.
Oh, yeah, pretty much so. So literally,
Thanks, buddy.
The design guys, went, like, literally get to work. We had a meeting immediately, and then within a few days, we were overseas. For a couple of months, literally working almost like 15, 20 hours a day to get this prototype to at then the Atlanta Super Show, which was the shoe show. Had the final meeting. My boss had come in, seen it, didn't like it. So he took blue ballpoint pen and modified the design. That went to the Super Show, and they booked 500,000 pair at the first day with a shoe with pens on it.
I forgot to ask you this. We've been referring to the pump shoe. Do you even know what we're talking about?
Isn't that with the little spring on the heel?
No,
the spring.
A spring on the heel.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It is time for it to come back.
It's. I think it's back in some iteration.
So he's 23, right?
Yeah.
He is the
25.
core consumer.
Yeah.
Discretionary, disposable income, and no frontal cortex control.
Right. There you
What
go.
year did the pump come out?
89.
Pull up like a 1992 Reebok basketball pump shoe, because this is going to be deep in the wheelhouse.
Right.
You need to see what your generation has been robbed of, and then you tell me, Michael, if you would want this back in action.
Yeah. Was it 89 or 90? Yeah. Yeah. There.
Yes.
You go. So yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Also, now I'm fascinated. What shoe are you referencing with the spring in the bottom? And why would that be considered the pump?
Well,
that'd be called the spring.
Well, because I figured, like, when you stepped, it would, like, pump you back up.
They actually did develop, I don't think it went to market, but a pump that encompassed the entire foot. So when you stepped on it, you were pumping it up. I mean, they did a lot of iterations.
Can you find me a picture of the spring shoe you're talking about?
Yeah.
I need to see this. Is this like some crazy running shoe, like specifically for track athletes?
There probably are. There are,
I mean, look, I'll have them pull it back.
Yeah, see? Told you.
Oh, there you go. No,
that is not what we are talking
that's
about.
like, old fashionista stuff.
Yeah, hit the back button, Michael. Go bottom row, fourth one from the left. I mean, come on. Hit that thing.
So that,
awesome.
so the one, if you go, so that was the D Brown pump. That's the one that I believe that was that model, or it might have been the one on the far right, when he went up and won the dunk contest at the NBA. Covering his eyes.
Yeah.
That was.
Would you rock that thing, Michael?
D-time. Yeah. That's it.
No.
You don't think? You don't think that's retro for what's going on?
I mean, it's definitely retro. I don't know.
So the orange button, obviously, it pumps
air into your
shocker.
Yeah,
it gets tighter.
Yeah, there was a latex ball underneath it, like getting a blood pressure pump.
And then the little button to the right of it, obviously, would allow you to release the air.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
I cannot believe that he has no idea. This is a core memory for me in my childhood.
Of course, but I mean, it was really one of the first interactive shoes that you got to customize your shoe.
Yeah.
So
the wear of it for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, so it was like it was like, oh, how much can you pump it up?
So okay, on the business side, they released this. Did they really have any idea how big it was going to be?
No, not at all. It just exploded.
So when it does that, and you're at Reebok and it's exploding like that, how do you try to put a harness on that tiger and catch it? Are you just full speed ahead, make as many as you can?
Pretty much so. I mean, and then it went like, how do we expand upon it and do other models like you see up there, and what do we do next? I mean, that's like in the tennis pump that I had worked on.
Because I feel like they probably sold through their initial inventory.
It was how quickly can we make it? So
that's the problem. Like we have a hit on our hands. Oh, by the way, we didn't forecast for this, so we're out. People want to buy this. We don't have anything to take their money.
Well, so what happened is there was in kind of like Western Mass, there was the pump manufacturer. So we insisted at the time to take the pumps from the U.S., close to us in Mass, and because we wanted them to make sure that they were all checked beforehand. And
You're
worked.
talking about the mechanism of the pump?
Inside, the
okay.
internal bladder.
Okay.
The internal bladder. And so those were, and then then it was full speed. How do you get them to work 3 shifts, and how do you get them to deliver this the supply chain? And they were.
How awesome was the holiday party that year?
For the first 5 years I was there, I mean, there was great bonuses. There was great profit sharing. It was like money in the bank.
Yeah,
it was good at the time. And then it was again chasing, and they kind of started to lose their way. And I was there. The last 3 years I was there was like a layoff every October. It was like we had to pump up the stock, so what can we? We have to lay people off. So I sadly had to 2 years going like make the list, and then the third year I was on the list. So, yeah.
What was the focus of Reebok at that time? So, and again, where it ended up being, and again, this is an outside perspective. They pursued, I would say relatively aggressively, but probably normally a business partnership that they wanted with CrossFit. It seemed as if they had some relationships and ambassadorships with athletes, and then interestingly, entertainers. So
at the time, it was changing from athletes to entertainers. I think they had done a shoe maybe with 50 Cent. They had done something with Sean Carter, Beyonce's husband, and Jay-Z, and others. So that when they realized that music was really where it's at, I'm looking at some of the other. I comically talk about my 3 weeks spent with Kanye West.
Really?
Yes.
While at Reebok?
No. So this is after Reebok.
I was going to say, didn't he sign with Audi?
Well, yeah. So
I don't know if that deal was
I'm fast forwarding a little bit. So so it's in between OTB 1.0 and OTB 2.0. But
before you continue, you personally spent 3 weeks with him?
Yeah.
Is he as, I'm trying to use a technical term here, insane as he appears to be on social media?
So when he's pretty much one-on-one, I'd say 90% he's okay. But he wavers. And he had some kind of crazy... So a buddy of mine who was one of the guy that designed some of these shoes, the Pump Fury.
Yeah.
He's a kind of a major guy, Stephen Smith, asked me out. He said, hey, Kanye wants to build a factory in the U.S. I said, well, I'll come out and talk with him. Would he come out? I said, yeah. So it turned out like 3 weeks. And, he picked me up and had breakfast with him.
With Kanye?
Oh, yeah.
But what do you guys chat about over breakfast with old Mr. Kanye
Most of the time
West?
he was on the phone with people. But
How many phones did he have?
I think one at the time. But and then at the time he was going through his gospel phase. So he had built a gospel chapel in the office.
Okay.
And he had what he would call Sunday services.
But not on just Sundays?
On Sundays.
Okay.
He brought in this incredible gospel choir and had this incredible, so he one day goes, hey, I'd like you to be my guest at Sunday service. I said, great. I said, hey, would you mind if I bring my daughter? And he's like, how old is she? I said, well, she's the GM of the UCLA radio station. And I'd be dad of the year. Oh yeah, no problem. So she, obviously went to that. And then who comes in and sits with me, or like literally right behind me, all these seats were the Kardashians. So it was just like a head exploding endeavor. So,
did they bring all their video cameras with them, or did they just show up as people?
There were a lot of people there with cameras.
I don't know how you can live any semblance of even a remotely real life if you are either trying to document it and I know nothing about their show. What I do know about reality TV is that the term reality should be loosely based and associated with it. So there's a lot of artificial fill in the blank. I don't understand large sums of money anyway, though. I don't have access to them, and maybe my thoughts would change if I did. I don't think it would. I don't know if there's any sum of money that would make me want to do that.
Yeah, it was weird. And then he also called us in, for a meeting at the Kardashian house he was living at the time. And you know, getting in there was pretty interesting, gated community, and you know, but he had security that I think you would probably chuckle at. I mean, I certainly don't have your skills, but know enough from being around guys like you, and it was kind of like Mall Cop 101.
They often go for just the largest person that they think they can find.
This looked like I should be careful. They weren't very large.
Okay.
They just didn't seem, you know, probably the most robust group of
maybe
guys.
they were trying to fool you. Perhaps it was an act.
It could have been. I doubt it. But in any event, yeah. So went into their place and saw like where they filmed, you know, the Kardashians, and it was just it's still like head exploding. Like, what am I doing here? You know.
Well, how do you manage a guy like that in that 10% time period where he's a little bit off the res?
Well, I guess, yeah, he was starting, there were, you know, yeah, I think soon after he started to go really downhill. I mean, yeah, obviously he needed meds, and I don't think he was on them, and
I'm not a doctor. I would say he probably did, and perhaps a very deep level of assistance from psychiatrists, something.
Yeah.
I mean, he needed some support.
Oh, when he's on, he was a decent, a nice person, respectful person in meetings. Though I hadn't been for some meetings, I heard that he was off the rails. But with me, he was always respectful because I was, in a sense, selling my services of you know, building a factory or making a shoe better or whatever. So, but yeah, it was short lived. But I
How did it come to an end?
I wasn't getting paid.
That's a good reason for it to come to an end.
Yeah.
Did you ever get paid?
No. Still waiting for the check.
Have you tried sending an invoice?
I sent them a few times.
Again, there's people that have extremely high net worth, but a lot of that is tied up in assets that are not necessarily very liquid.
Well,
which is a problem that can be solved, but to me, that is not an incredibly uncommon story.
He wasn't the one signing the check. It was like, you know, I mean, he was. It was an odd. I think Adi at the time kind of owned the group, or he was a part of. It was a separate group that,
okay,
you know, that was doing the payment, and I understand that the accounting group was changing, and forensic. That's the classic invoicing delay tactic. Hey, we're changing systems. It's going to be a little bit. I think, well, I think one group got in there and said, "Whoa," and I don't think we want to be a part of this. Another group got in there and said, "Whoa, I don't know if I want to." So it was one of those things. But you know what? Honestly, I have better stories. You know, I mean, pretty. Yeah, my kids were like, "Wow!" I was a kind of a fan for them for a while. I still am a fan of my kids are a fan of mine. So.
Adi eventually unwound that relationship, right?
Yeah, they did, because of some of the he was.
He went what we like to call a little high and right.
He did, yeah.
Not politically, just for a round flying off into orbit and maybe just going, yeah.
I mean, it was a lot. I mean, he was producing $1 billion worth of stuff with his name on it, or the Yeezy brand.
That's got to hurt for a brand even of that size.
It did. It hurt them a lot.
Yeah.
You know, bottom line.
How does that work on the business side? Do they own the IP of anything he would have created with them up until that break?
So I don't know the exact things. I guess he still gets a piece of it, but they didn't want to still sell it because it still was associated with what he was saying. So
if they wanted to, do you think they have the right to produce it again, though? And sell it?
I think they have a right to the designs. They could technically take those designs without. It depends on, like, half the shoes they could take and remake without the Yeezy brand.
Yeah.
But then there are folks out there that still worship him.
Yeah.
That you know, want that, and it would probably raise holy hell.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's don't know the guy at all, have no touch points, never met him, only see, and you know what people put up on social media is, I would like to believe, selective and intentional. You throw mental illness into that. For him, it's almost as if watching a train wreck of a mental health crisis happening live, and they're broadcasting it. It just becomes very. I know a lot of people derive immense entertainment out of that. I end up just feeling really bad.
Yeah. Well, so I brought another buddy in on the program for one day with my other buddy Steven, and who were kind of like three peas in a pod, worked together at Adi early on, and then we all went to Reebok together, but. he was there one day and pretty much said,
I've seen enough.
Nope. Thank you. He just retired too from Vans. He was the senior VP of Vans. So he said, yeah, I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
So.
Talk to me about the creation of OTB. I'm fascinated by, I'm a 50% owner in the coffee shop. It's the only brick and mortar thing I've ever done.
Right.
Never tried to create a soft goods, t-shirt
right.
stuff, but I'm not creating the blank. The guy locally here does all the artwork silk. You know what I mean?
Right.
Michael,
sure.
thankfully, now stuffs all the poly mailers. And for anybody who has complaints about the velocity that it gets to you or the packaging it's in, please email Michael directly. But I guess I'm an entrepreneur. I don't like necessarily that word.
Right.
Creating something out of thin air, the coffee shop is an extension of an existing brand. There was the sitting with architects and ideating and all that stuff, but I'm not going to call it something that didn't exist before. OTB,
right.
A little bit different, and I know he went on one hell of a journey, and I'm fascinated by the
come and gone.
Entrepreneurial journey.
So I still to this day get jacked up by making shoes. I love producing footwear. So I grew up my whole career making it for pro athletes, whether it be, tennis pros or football players, basketball players, Olympic fencers, pole vaulters, all unique needs. And after getting, laid off at Reebok, and I was at a semi-executive status, it ain't easy to find jobs. So I don't want to say bounced around, but, I was in a lot of places that, came and go after a year and a half, and, just like, and getting back to my second grade report card, does not play well with others. I had a low tolerance for buffoons.
How would that express itself?
Well, I wouldn't be calling people buffoons, but it's just like I'm done, so to speak. So I took some interesting jobs. I was VP of Donna Karan.
What's that?
DKNY in New York City, a fashion brand.
First off, let me just tell you, any fashion term that you use is going to go instantaneously over my head.
I don't know if you've ever seen the movie, and I recommend it because you'd understand what I lived through, A Devil Wears Prada.
I am aware that movie exists.
Right.
I've never seen it.
Right.
So you're saying watch it, then I'll have a deeper understanding of what you lived through?
It was exactly, literally. Okay. So day one, I get there, and it was a New York Auto Show.
But this is when you're the DKNY.
Yeah, when I was vice president of footwear for Donna Karan, and it was talk about so I had been out of work for almost 6 months after Reebok. I had a year plus severance. I had a good severance, but you're still sweating that you want to get a salary to feed your kids. So I had 2 young kids at the time, and so I took the job. Wasn't that excited about it, not being a fashion guy. I never wore anything designer. But so day one, get in there, and it was the New York Auto Show, and BMW wanted to do a collaboration with them. So I think Adi was doing something with Mercedes, right? So anyway, they came to Donna Karan and said, "Hey, let's do a collab." So it was the CEO of BMW, myself, and the president of Donna Karan. So we go to the meeting. Day one, I literally just met this woman because all my interviews were, I think, over the phone. Anyway, and then had the meeting, and then after the meeting I said, well, from a manufacturing perspective, we can do this way. And then I said, from a fashion perspective, and she's like, don't talk to me about fashion.
She gave you the wavy finger?
I'll let you know when you can talk about fashion. And, the thought bubble wasn't good. So I knew right then and there. So and
how sassy was the finger wave?
It was pretty sassy.
Nice, like 8 out of 10.
Yeah. Again, Devil Wears Prada. It's just.
I'm going to ask an almost rhetorical question here. Have you ever seen it, Michael?
No, but you haven't either, so you can't.
I haven't. So now I'm thinking.
I think the
bucket of popcorn sitting between you and I.
That's a good idea.
Javi can come.
Obviously.
Devil Wears Prada. On the sofa at the townhouse.
I think they just came out with the second one, or it's about to.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Michael and I have to first get caught up.
We have to watch the first one.
Yeah.
Michael, I think we need to do this. Should we do a Reacts video?
Oh, we should actually. That would be awesome.
For clarity, the amount of knowledge that Michael and I have in fashion is non-existent.
Right.
We're
Well,
looking at
negative.
this is black tie for both of us.
I mean, I was the same way. I didn't really. I mean,
Yeah.
so I suggested that we part ways soon after. Anyway, so and I had Reebok taught me well. The HR department taught me well. So I had a lot of good notes that I had taken, and just went and said, I think we should separate, and here's why. And then they said, ooh, the next day, like, when do you want to leave?
I think they call that leverage.
Yeah, I had a lot of leverage.
Yeah.
A lot of leverage. And
Well, depending on the time period and the era and where you're working, there are some magic words that can net a result. They're very favorable.
well, so, I mean, talk about, stars aligning, good or bad. So I didn't sell. I lived in a little coastal town. Thank God we didn't sell our home. We did move to Brooklyn. It was really, so finally I left September 6th, 2001. 5 days before the big event.
Where was it in proximity to the trade towers?
They were like right in Midtown.
Okay.
So
So they were north of it.
Yeah,
okay.
right in Midtown. So,
Still wouldn't have been the place to be.
No, but my kids were like nursery school and kindergarten, right? Or first grade and nursery school. So, but we didn't have to explain it to them now. But, I was like out for a bike ride that day. Came home and like was listening to the radio. I'm like, oh my, turned it on. But I guess talking to neighbors from the building that we'd lived in, the brownstone, I guess like the 56th floor of the bond traders like blew over across the river right into our front doorstep.
Up until that point, had you interfaced with working with or selling into military communities at all?
No. So fast forward after the DKNY thing, I was working with Sperry Topsider.
I feel like that's an incredibly expensive yachting shoe.
Well, that was high tech. The leather boating shoe was high tech.
Michael, I need to see one of these.
A Sperry Topsider.
Sperry Topsider. That was the boating shoe.
Is this going to have tassels?
It can.
Why?
Just because. So here's how it started. So I was working there.
It just sounds like a pretentious brand.
Well, it's your classic New England boat shoe. Like a hand sewn boat shoe, which is like really in New England. There were plenty of places up like Dexter shoe, which is no longer Bass.
But would people judge you in this community if you weren't wearing these? And then if you were, they would judge you on the SKU?
No, but I'm sure you've seen this shoe.
I have. As soon as you pulled it up, I actually thought this is way less pretentious than I thought. I thought we were going to look for some massive tasseling.
No, well, they have versions with it. But, that's like the classic boat shoe, right? So, but when I got there, they also have a kind of an athletic line. But when I got there, I was hired as director of product. It kind of, I was between product and marketing, like pre-marketing. But they said, hey, the Navy SEALs are wearing one of our shoes. And I said, has anyone found out why?
Well, I would also, I'm sure you got to the bottom of this. I've heard a lot of statements that begin with, that Navy SEALs are using.
Right.
This is the official watch of the Army, fill in the blank.
Exactly. But I said, has anyone spoken to them and why? And they said, well, I have a business card of a guy, and I got it. It was Chief Tim someone, and I because of traffic, I was really south of Boston. I got in early. Military starts early. I called the number. He picked up. He said, yeah, why don't you come in? So a week later, I flew into Little Creek, got the password for the base at the time, let me in, and got massively lost. Well before really Google Maps, and got in there and had an incredible meeting, which I'm sure you know, and where it is, and was escorted to pee. I couldn't go anywhere without anybody, but it was a great meeting, and left Sperry. Well, I said, hey, why don't we work with these guys and make stuff, and they go, that's kind of a stupid idea. I'm like,
well, why were they wearing a Sperry Topsider? So
again, they had an athletic line. I mean, and so They used it. It was during the, and this is where I started to learn, about it. The Barcelona Olympics.
Okay.
And there was a team, in the day on a yacht looking, from your old group, looking like svelte
Tough
guys.
duty assignment.
Right. And then at night they
Past the olive oil or whatever the hell you put on yourself to tan.
Yeah, exactly. And at night they were, checking bottoms for mines or whatnot, or
I think at night they were probably getting hammered and saying that they were doing that. But go with whatever works for you.
Yeah, well, they were there. There's a team at every Olympics, as you know.
Yeah.
So, and I come
they
to
travel around quietly often. A lot of military units do. You'd be surprised the peripheral units that travel the world.
Well, I have kind of fast forward. I've worked a lot with some of these secret squirrels. Mm-hmm. I've gotten clearances to do some pretty wild stuff too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's been a really cool ride. Anyway, so after the Sperry thing, I made the prototypes that they wanted, that Sperry didn't want, and then we're to get back to the Skunk Works at Natick, DEVCOM,
mm-hmm.
where and they said, hey, would you work with them and develop some footwear? So I did, and it.
That was the genesis of OTB.
That was the genesis of OTB. So they got, the stuff I made they liked, was like shoes that had drainage, that, got dried quickly, and like little stuff that...
And OTB, military term at least, stands for over the beach.
Over the beach, yeah.
It's, when I was first exposed to it was late 90s, and God, these were not the most fun blocks of training, I'm going to be honest with you, because it was usually paired with OTH, which stands for over the horizon. And just imagine a small Zodiac with a 55 horsepower engine, and you're in Coronado, and they just say, point it at that setting sun.
Right.
And drive until the curvature of the Earth, which, by the way, the Earth is curved for any of you out there still on the fence on that one. And when you can't see the shore anymore, we'll go like 5 more miles, turn around, and just do the exact same thing. You'll go over the horizon and return. When you get back, though, we're going to do a combat swimmer or a surface swimming evolution, because combat swimmer means underwater. Surface swimming evolution where you have to survey, then come across the beach. Hence the over the beach aspect.
Right.
OTH paired with OTB, not my most favorite training block.
Yeah, well, that's where I started making shoes for that. I don't know if you remember the original Abyss. You might have worn shoes that had holes in the bottom.
First pair of boots or shoes that I ever wore for that was a set of jungle boots.
Right.
Legit Vietnam, not great for swimming, or actually ankle support.
Running on the beach, you could stack a set of quarters in your blisters probably.
That, and I believe they were designed to remove any cushioning material in your spine and knees.
Right. Yeah.
And it basically felt like this tapping on my laptop in front of me.
There are still units that buy that today. I'm shocked.
I tell you what, as far as a dress boot goes, if you're going to have like a Garrison set of camis and you want to polish something up to like a shine, they're the best ever.
But very few people in the U.S. are wearing a black boot.
I mean, that doesn't make any sense given we spent 20 years in the desert. Oh, wait. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
Right. I mean, the spec is a coyote color brown.
Yeah.
So, but no, so we made originally their first shoe called the Abyss that had holes in the bottom.
And you mean bottom, not the sides, like
not
you mean
the side.
bottom.
Yeah. So we had mesh on the bottom, so no junk would go in there, but water would drain out immediately. So.
Traditionally, it would be drain holes in the arches. It seemed like the side of the arch.
So another thing that we did, especially if you looked at the 8-inch boots that I sent you, called the Carbon and the Flex, we have strategically placed round holes with mesh just above the flex groove on the top. It's like, if you look at like the Jungle Boot, it had 2 like metal eyelets with some of them with the screen mesh.
Yeah, just on the sides.
About an inch above the midsole.
Yeah,
it's
like it was on the inboard side as well. Yeah,
right. But water doesn't get that. I mean, you want it in the flex area where you like the lowest point. Duh.
No, if you got a Jungle Boot wet, you left it, it would be 48 hours later, you're still wet.
Oh, hell yeah. Right. So that's, again, listening, working with, a fencer or a pole vaulter, or, making, like, listen to, like, little things like, oh, we can put special meshes that dry quick, or this leather. So we use all waterproof leathers in our product, even though the shoes aren't waterproof. Because like, for instance, Best Ranger, where we had probably 9 out of 10 guys wearing our stuff, they would say, like, my feet are dry in 30 minutes. Just their heat coming out sopping wet, but because
the material the boot is made with is not absorbing the water.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So little things like that. We don't make as much, but we make a better product.
Yeah.
You know, and all smooth meshes and all that. But yeah, so we did that. I mean, were you around for like the Captain Phillips mission?
I was still in the military at that time, nowhere associated with that command.
Okay, all right, because that's like that whole mission. They wore our stuff, amongst other stuff in other places. But yeah, so it grew. But then we did land stuff, which that's when I met you and you got back into the fight and you wore a bunch of some stuff I sent you. And then, so it was backed by the Bank of Dan. It wasn't that big. And so looking for money, there was a meeting. We were meeting with all kinds of VCs. And I got a call from a guy, a SEAL, and he said, hey, I'm meeting with New Balance. They told us they want to make our shoes. And I said, no, OTB makes our shoes. And they said, who are they? And I said, well, I'm looking for money. And they said, well, hey, come to the meeting. I'm like, you know, I'd love to meet with them. But anyway, I went to the meeting with them. And they said, you know, who are you? I said, well, I said, and they're like looking at me like, who is this guy? Why is he here? But, you know, the people with me, they knew how to shoot straight. They didn't really know much about shoes. So I basically spoke for them. And in the meeting to the New Balance people, I said, you know, I'd like to meet with your chairman, Jim Davis. And they're like, oh, pay no attention to the man behind the green curtain. You know, you're never going to meet with him. He's too busy. I said, oh, thanks. So we leave, hit the elevator, and opened up. It was Jim Davis alone. And I'd been pitching left and right, so I went run in. You know, Mr. Davis, Dan Ellis, I'm here with Navy SEAL here, and you know we're going. You know, I have a company.
You're telling me you randomly ran into the chairman in the elevator?
Yes, after saying I will never meet with him.
That's what I'm talking about.
Literally.
What you're saying is have your elevator pitch ready, because you literally got
6
an elevator pitch.
6 floors. I gave him the elevator pitch, 20 seconds.
Yeah.
At the bottom, got out. He said, "I'll take your meeting tomorrow."
Man,
true story. And then
you have some interesting timing.
So the guy I was with, I'll tell you his name after. You might know him. He said, you know, I'm trained to kill people, and I've never seen anyone attack anyone so fast. So anyway, so next day met with him and with my business partner. I called my business partner, who was the chairman of Saucony before, and he goes, no way, no fucking way. I mean, I've been trying to get in touch with him. He wouldn't even return my call. So we go in, we have the meeting. He had the product, and he goes, we could never make this. He goes, who backed this? I said, it was the Bank of Dan. And he goes, you have fucking balls. He goes, I'm putting you with my mergers team tomorrow. So 4 months later, they bought us. So
did you have any hesitation in that? No,
because I was down to my last, as my then wife said, you know, she would commonly play Aerosmith's "Living on the Edge."
Yeah.
Because it was, you know, I literally bet the farm, like call it Shark Tank. I you know, 401k went into OTB, and it was getting down there. And,
so how did that relation? So did they buy all of OTB? Did they buy a controlling interest in it?
100%. They bought the whole thing.
Is that what you wanted at the time?
It's kind of like what I had to. I mean, it saved my house. It saved my finances.
Yeah, but then walk me through the continued entrepreneurial journey.
So the tough part is we got in there thinking that we had all these assets at our disposal, which we had none. We thought we did. So we wanted to make Berry compliant boots made in America, right? And they had factories. And the agreement we had is that after 3 years, we would get an earn out. We'd get X% of sales. Sign us a check. Here you go.
We, when you say that, you mean
my partner and I.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that was a big. So we had this incredible plan, like we can get it to 100 million, and you know we're going to get this great money, blah blah blah. So we get in there and say, well, here's our. And he goes, oh yeah, we can get those in. We can do production in 3 years. We're like, what? And here I am used to Asian production where, you know, like from the years at Reebok, you know, like when the chairman says, oh, here's an idea, and you know, 3 months later we're delivering, right? I'm being told 3 years to get a shoe delivered.
Do you think they intentionally pushed it to that 3-year cycle knowing that payout? Or that was the actual cycle of what it would take? No. So, I mean, New Balance is a strong company today, but then
They had a bunch of feeder brands, small brands that they did, and it was classic for the chairman at the time to buy them without a lot of talk with others. So when it came time, board meeting, we went to the board meeting, and he comes in and goes, "Guys, just make this happen," and walked out. So it wasn't like there was a debate. He just, whatever chairman said, so they just okay, rubber stamped it, and so we're kind of high-fiving on the table, but so from that day on, it was never really, we weren't really accepted well. It wasn't bad, but so we were in the corner. We weren't even on their servers, so to speak. So it was just at one point, one of the guys in charge of ops was a former Marine. I'm like, dude, you got to get us some help. You got to, so finally he kind of raised some holy hell. But
how does your brand survive if you have a military client or clients, plural, that wants your product and your delivery window is 36 months? That's not going to be acceptable to them.
Well, exactly. But see, a lot of times it didn't. So we also had, we had a lot of international business, because every time, we started making stuff for DevGru, and every time they trained all over the world, we would get a phone call. We always knew where they're trained. Well, because it was oh, what do you wear?
It is actually part of the charter of that particular command. Development group is, if you look at the doctrine, and I've never actually looked at the 3-ring binder that says it specifically, but my understanding is a portion of that is development, refinement and selection of everything from equipment to tactics, techniques, and procedures, development of SOPs. That's actually how it is supposed to work. Yeah, it's tough. That's not really good OPSEC if you could follow their training calendar throughout the world because the people they were training with are calling you. Great business model. Right. Come on, gents. Let's work.
Well, no, it isn't good OPSEC, but I mean, it's just because I work with so many of the secret squirrel groups. I know kind of where guys are going. I call and we have something in X day. We need this for that. So, but in any event, so that's how we 50% of our business was overseas. But so when we had some international distributors that got contracts again because it was respected, because dev groups using it must be the best. So we had all the whether it be France, KSK, all this stuff. So they couldn't deliver, and then they were becoming persona non grata because they couldn't deliver and their asses were in a sling. So it wasn't cool. And then I had some spidey sense. I said to my partner Mike at the time, this doesn't seem like I don't feel it. He goes, no, we have 60,000 pair on the water right now. No way. I said, nah, they're gonna cut this. And then lo and behold, a month later, they cut it. We didn't get hurt.
They cut the company out?
New Balance cut OTB.
What does that mean? Do they basically say, we're done with this tranche of our business, we're shutting it down?
We're shutting it down, and you don't get your money back that you put into it. Yeah. So I put in 7 figures. Yeah.
And, I mean, beyond that, it seems like a lot of passion, a lot of time,
huge.
Sweat equity.
Relationships. The thing that really killed me is, I had garnered phenomenal relationships with a lot of guys, a lot of units, worldwide, to this day. So that's what kind of killed me. Never mind, the money thing wasn't a good thing. Didn't really help for personal relationships either. So that eventually ended, and that helped it.
Yeah.
But not to sound too scoundrelly, for the better. So
it oftentimes is.
Yes. Yeah. So in any event, not fun at the time, but anyway. So with that, I went back in the industry. I moved overseas, director of engineering for VF, which owned Vans, Timberland, the North Face. I was there for a couple years, but I kept getting asked for stuff. Hey, I need a there's no more OTB. I need water shoes. So I designed a shoe. Everyone starts wearing Chucks. So you probably have seen the shoe, Altama Maritime Assault shoe.
I never knew the names of the stuff.
Yeah,
show up.
if you Michael, pull up Altama Maritime Assault.
Is that one word, Altama?
Two Altama is one word. Altama Maritime Assault. So
I recognize that shoe.
I designed that shoe, and I did a Shark Tank deal with Altama. I said, hey, trust me, the guys, all the water guys that wear Chuck Taylors, this is a super Chuck Taylor. And then I don't get it. And I said, just put it out at SHOT Show. I did all colors at coyote black, multicam. And
so you just straight built protos for SHOT Show?
Well, yeah, it was. Well, I also tested some. And before, one of the things again, I won't put anything out that I haven't been tested or guys haven't tested for me. So I knew it worked. It was that little drain thing on the side.
Click on one of those, Michael, so the image is bigger, like the green one, 5th over, upper row.
Yeah.
That's not green. You're fucking colorblind.
Yeah,
Good enough though.
Yeah, it is a canal. So see on the flex area, there's like a mesh that water comes out, right, on both inside and outside. We have a board in there. Anyway, #1 shoe at SHOT Show for him, and I did a licensing deal, a little Shark Tanky thing, so I get a little piece of all that shoe.
Awesome.
So so that was kind of good, but then fast forward, I did some consulting, and then I brought the OTB business model to Deckers. The Deckers Corporation, which is the parent of Hoka and UGG.
I'm familiar with UGG. Pull up Hoka, Michael. I feel like I've seen...
You know Hoka. Hoka is like one of the fastest growing running shoe brands right now.
Yeah. Pull it up, Michael. I bet you I'm going to recognize this.
You know Hoka running shoes. I mean, yeah. I mean,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know Hoka.
No, that's an incredibly recognizable cushion on the bottom.
Right. So everyone was going minimal. Or
barefoot last, specifically the CrossFit world, 0 drop barefoot last.
Right. Which depending on maybe for lifting, but I'm a cushion guy.
Well, they'll tell you across. I mean, again, schools of thought, and I remember specifically listening to a lot of the running coaches in the CrossFit ecosystem. Right, you're not supposed to heel strike, and they would use children running as the example, the running form of kids. They're up on their. Yeah. And again, I'm not an expert in any of this, but I can tell you where that came from.
There's a big book that came out, Born to Run, that talked about running like Cro-Magnon man, basically. I remember, I ate and slept and drank running. Grew up almost on the marathon course. It was part of my history growing up, Boston Marathon, that is. It was a big part of my upbringing. Ate, slept, and drank running. My coach, I remember, always said, he was a decent coach, don't mimic anything or anybody. Just run how you run, Which I kind of, so if you have to change your gait, you're thinking too much. That's my opinion, right? But so these guys that started, so the guy that founded Hoka, great story. A French guy, Jean-Luc Diard, he was the CEO of Salomon, left and started this. When everyone was going minimal, he went maximal. And he brought it to Deckers. Former Reebok guys with his chairman at the time, a former runner. They bought it for $8 million.
Really?
It is today a $2 billion brand.
We call that a good ROI.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah.
They're killing it. And you know why? Because it's like, again, give the customer what they want. People want a comfortable cushion shoe, and most Americans are kind of corn-fed,
Yeah.
So,
but I got some miles in a Solomon, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
That was the disposable shoe
right.
that I would take.
Right.
Speed Cross.
Right, exactly. So anyway, I went there. They had a Skunk Works group with this guy, Jean-Luc Diard. And he got it because being at Salomon, he knew that, the forces group that a lot of guys wear today. So we put it together, but the company was, it's in their corporate charter, no weapons in photos or anything, so some people got kind of hot and bothered. They were doing military stuff, kind of like, Patagonia, as you know, made a lot of stuff, and the inside people didn't like that.
Yeah.
So they shut it down, but luckily a good friend whose son was in the Ranger Regiment, and we developed the 3 major boots, the 8-inch boots, and then the water boot, the Abyss water boot there. And he said, I'm the only one that's been in a military boot shop. My son's in the 75th Ranger Regiment. He goes, this is like the best shoe out there. He goes, give it to Dan. Let's give it to him. So they basically said there's no really true IP. We do have a carbon plate in one of the shoes. And we took it, tweaked a few things, and brought it out as OTB. So we did, and we just launched a year ago.
How did you get the name back from New Balance?
So,
or not more than the name. Did you buy the company back?
So, here's a great story too. Right place, right time. So it was a little bit political, and also why it shut down. The guy that shut it down really didn't even confer with many people at New Balance. So the CEO of New Balance, not the chairman who I met in the elevator, the CEO, who I'd helped. He was a cyclist like I was too, and helped garnish the U.S. Top pro team to sponsor. I knew the guys that rode in the Tour de France. So anyway, we became friendly. So I called him up a few years later. I said, hey, you're not using the name anymore, even though you own it. And he goes, let me check with legal. And next day he calls me back and he says, we never re-upped the trademark. If you go to the trademark, U.S. trademark,
USPTO, yeah.
Yeah, go there, and for $250, register it back. It's yours.
I don't know if legal would have appreciated him making that call.
Well, he was anyway. I did that, and then he worked further. He put a call into legal, and I said, "Can I have the OTBBoots.com back?" And they said, "Yeah, as long as you never put a New Balance logo on, dude, I'm not going to do anything with New Balance."
Yeah, I don't think the taste is still in the mouth.
Right.
So yeah, we're not going to be throwing New Balance up on the old landing page.
Yeah. So that's how I got it back, $250.
That's wild.
Yeah, right place, right time.
Are you back to financing this with the Bank of Dan?
No.
Okay.
Bank
of Dan round 2.
So here's, kind of a interesting thing. So I had 2 other partners that we started it with, and we got investors, some really decent investors, and but a year ago, just before we were going to launch, there was some big head knocking between the 3 founders, and I brought my former partner back, who did not get along with another gentleman, and so we said, let's stop doing business with you, and we did, and that caused lawsuits and a lot of legal wrangling. So we were in some disputes last summer when we had $1 million worth of boots ready to float across, and my original partner was he wanted to shut it down despite him, and I'm like, we got $1 million. I'm not going to screw the factory out of $1 million. I said, I know the factory personally. I've worked with them for 40 years, or I know everyone. I said, no. And so he's like, I'm done too. I said, well, great. Well, then I'm gonna run with this. We actually gave a lot of the investors their money back, and when I said I'm going forward, they gave me the money back. Got some more money, and then with the COO, my COO out of Washington State, I said, it's you and me now. Let's do it. And we are on fire. We have a great chief marketing officer, a great sales guy. We're going to do close to $10 million this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, 1 year. Yeah, 1 year. We're on fire.
What would you... Sometimes the answer to this question is probably nothing, because you're here today because of the experiences that you went through. But what did you learn if you had a notebook along the way and you were taking notes of things you could have avoided, and you were going to pass that to yourself before you went down this pipeline of involving New Balance? What would be in that notebook? So
it's interesting. I'd have to say, for me, it's go with your gut, go with spidey sense. And for the New Balance thing, I had to do it because literally, so here's another interesting fact. The day I signed with New Balance, literally, or I had the purchase and sale agreement, like buying a home, you get a P&S, the bank came knocking on the door to take the house. And I said, here, let me make a copy of this. Here's a purchase and sale. And they said, congratulations. The house is yours now.
Yeah.
So it was down to the wire there. So I had to sell. I didn't want to.
Would you have taken potentially money earlier to avoid getting to that place?
Yeah. Okay. So if I could do it again, I would have had investors.
Okay.
That and it's just that at the time probably didn't know enough. Again, it's the No,
that's why you're writing this notebook now that you're going to give to your 15 year ago self.
Right. Exactly. And also. And you can attest to working your whether it be missions or whether it be your current business or having the right team.
Yeah.
You know, like if you have great guys with you, you'll succeed. So Spidey sense of like some of the former partners, the headbutting. You know, I'm even though they're gone, I'm quite happy now. Because
did you get through all the legal mess?
Yeah. It wasn't easy, but we did.
It doesn't ever seem to be easy, fun, or cheap.
No, it wasn't cheap. It was not cheap at all. But in the end, the company was. We decided. I said I'm not throwing all this away. You know. Mm-hmm. So plus I had investors. I didn't want. I didn't want to have lost their money. So in any event, we're killing it. I mean, because the team is just on fire. My COO in Washington is a whiz at juggling chainsaws. I mean, he knows finance, operations. He's amazing. I mean, he's really holds a lot of the glue together. I mean, I'm product geek. I'm the guy doing most of the development, not all of it. Some of the design I have technical designers that do some of the hard stuff. My sales guy, marketing guy is great. We put a lot of money into marketing.
What's been the most effective thing you found as a tool for marketing, or like the money that you're putting in? What's been your best ROI on money spent?
So we put a good amount into Instagram.
Just baked in ads?
Yeah, but here's the greatest thing.
I've never seen one. They're not serving you well?
Well, you're not around a military base.
Thank God.
Because guess what?
Actually, that's not true. Great Falls is right over there. Air Force. They use a lot of water boots.
We know where the customers sleep, pretty much, right?
So what you're saying, you're taking a scientific and intelligence approach
to
this?
Yeah, so we can geo-target. we can geo-target. In fact, I have guys
why
saying,
would you not actually?
Right, and it's like it ain't rocket science when you think about it. But you just target them. So if you went to Fort Benning today, I'd have to say we own it. So like I had some targets. The brand Garmont, they make an 8-inch boot.
Can't say I do. Sounds very French.
It's an Italian brand. Interestingly enough, there's a former Swick that started. He went to a bunch of outdoor brands. Like he went to I think Jerry. He went to Garmont and said, "Here, could you make a military boot out of like your Italian heritage?" So they did. Sold. It kills it. They do nothing. It's been the same for like 10 years. And I said, "I know I can make a better boot." So my other target was Solomon. I want them off. I mean, also I always tell everyone, like, they're Chinese owned. And guys were like,
that wasn't always the case, though, right?
It wasn't.
When did that switch over to being Chinese?
About 5 years ago, about.
They were real quiet about that.
Oh, of course, especially on the military side.
I mean, I can't say every, that's an inaccurate statement. Many of the guys I worked with were talking multiple pairs of Solomons. Oh, training shoe, overseas deployment shoe, all of that.
It was the shoe. It was the shoe. It still is. It's really tailing off.
Yeah.
We own the water. I mean, it's a unique. You saw the new Abyss water shoe. Looks like a climbing shoe.
Mm-hmm. Today's episode is brought to you by Element, spelled LMNT. Feel free to say LMNT if you want to, but also you could say just Element. Let's also head over to their website, right meow. This stuff, essentially electrolytes, particularly sodium and potassium, are the driving force behind energy production. From neurons to muscles to every heartbeat, stay salty with our tasty drink mix and sparkling electrolyte options. I just read that right off their website. Every one of these packets, and let's just scroll to see what they have here. The Insider Bundle, this is going to give you 4 flavors per month. You can build it, obviously, to choose your flavors. Here's what they got. Lemonade salt, can't recommend it enough. Citrus, watermelon, raspberry, grapefruit, orange, raw and unfiltered for people who hate their life. Mango chili, great for cocktails. Chocolate, salt, and chocolate caramel, unbelievable for hot chocolate beverages. Variety pack here, a great way to expose yourself to a brand that you may not have bought much from yet or anything. These are their sparkling electrolyte drinks. Each one of these, this is a 16-ounce beverage, has the same amount of electrolytes. It's the 1,000 milligrams, 300 milligrams, and 60 milligrams of, respectively, sodium, potassium, and magnesium. Each of these sparkling waters has that in there as well. And they have it in watermelon, black cherry lime, citrus salt, and grapefruit. They also have a variety pack. Pretty soon, at some point, they are going to be coming out with smaller 12-ounce containers. In there was a pineapple salt. I tried it at the most recent SBG camp. Holy cow. My favorite flavor. Now, pineapple may not be your jam, so it might not be your favorite flavor, but I'm saying they keep adding different ways to get this electrolyte balance into your body. If you're a fan of being balanced, if you're a fan of working out hard and recovering, I cannot recommend enough this product. The difference in my body and recovery when I use it and when I don't is palpable. I can feel it. Head over to drinklmnt.com/clearedhot. You're going to get a free sample pack, which is probably the best way, or a variety pack. Sample some of their flavors. You're going to like one of them, if not more than one of them. Then you can make a more educated order. drinklmnt.com/clearedhot. Take your recovery, your salt, and your electrolyte game seriously. Back to the show.
It's a pretty cool shoe. It works really well. And there's zero sand intrusion. That's the big thing why guys
It
love
doesn't work well up here in the summer, though, when you're not in the water. You know, it's just like a kick-around shoe.
No, that one
It's
is
a little
not.
hot.
That's just water. That's not for
I
kicking
believe
around.
in multi-purpose shoes.
Well, if you want to, you can go to church in that
like
if you
I
want.
said,
Yeah,
I enjoyed the skater-type shoe.
Right, right.
I've always been a Vans guy, and actually I've gotten into rotary wing aviation in the past, I'd have to look at my logbook, year or so. The best shoes to fly in that I have found have flat soles, like skating shoes. And actually, even when I was doing a bunch of skydiving, high-performance canopies, you can surf it in on flat-soled shoes. The worst is having a jagged,
Exactly.
and you catch. And for, there's pedals for your left and right control,
Right.
and it's nice to be able to not have a groove that gets
Right.
caught, and you can sit there and slide your feet up.
Right.
and
I
down.
mean, I do a lot of stuff with the 160th guys.
Yep.
So
I've
yeah,
heard they're okay. I mean, it's like-
they do some.
I went to a local flight school. They're probably on my level. It's
Yeah,
not-
they know some
Those
stuff.
guys are fucking awesome.
Yeah, they know their shit. But
What do you make differently about that shoe for them, if anything, the skateboard-looking one?
well, so
What do you call it, by the way, so I can just refer to it as that versus the skateboard-looking one?
the T Cool. If Michael wants to pull up the,
Where did this name come from? First off, I'm your new consultant for naming. That's fucking sucks.
well, it was the Tacticool. It was, and then we said it's too long, so let's just call it the T Cool.
No.
So if you Michael can pull up,
Might as well call it the Be Cool.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So we
I feel
wanted.
there's a lower top version than that.
Yeah, in fact, there's a low top right there.
Yeah, go to low top version, Michael. God, you're not even helping us at all. There you go. Yeah, that is very Vans.
Yeah. So so what we did though is that you can. It's got a true midsole. It's a Vans is just a tape of this hard, solid rubber.
Yeah.
So that you can run it. So literally, I've gotten so many happy comments from guys about for jumping.
Yeah.
So I mean,
It's for that reason. You can surf it out without worrying about your ankles.
So one of my key contacts at Dev Group, he emails me. He goes, I got to tell you, I made the biggest mistake. He goes, I got over 700 jumps in me. We're all jumping there in Arizona. He goes, and I'm coming in. It was beautiful, coming in slow. I was wearing my Innovates with a heel. I caught a gopher hole. Rotational fracture.
Yeah.
So he goes, everyone else is wearing the T-Cools. If I was wearing my T-Cools, I wouldn't have this today. He goes, no, that's all I'm jumping in. And the same with the guys at CAG. They love it for that because, again, skating in. We did a reverse tread in the bottom. So
Do you want some product feedback?
What's that?
Do you want some product feedback?
Yeah.
Lighter.
Lighter? Yeah, but guys like it.
But here's the thing: you would have to make a different version. I know why you make the version you do. For me now, as a full, just rank civilian,
Right.
just dicking about Montana in a helicopter,
Right.
I'm going for absolute lightweight.
We have some. So the one, well, the I think I gave you the Carbon 6. It's very light.
Okay, you'll love this. I get home one day. You sent a few pairs.
I sent a few. Yeah, you're probably cursing. I'm
No.
sure, or your wife was like,
That's
"What the hell?"
that's the direction I'm going. She was like, "Hey,"
I should have got her size, but anyway. Yeah.
she was like, "Hey, what are those boxes out there?" I was like, "Well, on the outside it says OTB, so I think Dan sent me some boots." And then she goes, "Well, how many? And who are those for?" I said, "Well, Tyler wears the same size shoe as me, so we'll give him first dibs, but the rest of them are probably going to be for me." And then it's, well, where are we going to put those? Why does somebody need that many boots? Meanwhile, there's a stack of Old Navy packages from, Michael can attest to this. There's some old, I don't know if she'll get pissed if I tell, but who cares? You know, this is what kills me with her. So when stuff shows up for me, I do what a normal person does. I open it. She will take Old Navy packages that either I get for her that come to the mailbox or they're left at the house. She'll leave them on the dinner table for 2 or 3 days, and it drives me
that would drive
nuts.
I have to open them.
So I asked her, why do you do that? And she said, recently I asked her that. She said, it's kind of like Christmas. I'm just teasing myself. I'm like, I married a psychopath.
So I got to open it up. I want to be, instant pleasure from that Amazon.
Seen it. It's impressive.
Oh
at
yeah,
times.
I've seen it.
It's impressive. They'll just
Pretty good
sit
pile.
there. She'll get packages, sorry Jane, from her mom, and they will stay unopened for a long time. We both fear that there's something in there that might be like poisonous or dangerous to us, so I can understand that one. But man, you can have Christmas every day if something shows up.
Well,
unbox that thing.
Where I live, there's a woman that is like literally a hoarder. I live on live in Boston Harbor on a custom.
You're talking like
custom design houseboat.
But you mean like hoarder?
Yeah. So she lives
Which
on
is terrifying.
She gets literally she gets enough packages every day to cover this table. I think she's got like a trust fund.
I was going to say there's an amount of income that would be required for that.
I'm pretty sure it's literally like no joke. You couldn't see the table. Like she gets that much a day.
Yeah.
So there's a common mail area where I live.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable.
What you guys are doing, I like the shoe a lot. Like I said, for me, and you need to make it. I know exactly why you make it, because of the end user.
Yeah. It's so like when they go away, they don't take a lot of shoes. You can run in it. You can work out.
That's what I'm saying. Like for me, I would. The only way you could make that shoe better for me would be to make it just a little bit lighter.
Yeah. Which we use waterproof suede, so it
That's what
dries
I'm saying.
quickly. It's a little bit heavier.
If I get wet flying a helicopter, things have gone wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I would not wear that. For that. Yeah, but the one in the corner is kind of my. That's not the T Cool mid. Actually,
the one on the bottom right.
Yeah, the bottom right. That's called the incline mid. If you type in OTB incline mid, Michael, that's our Solomon killer, so to speak. It's got a
click on an image so it's a little bit bigger, Michael. Go. Yep. Either.
So it's got like a toe. So you're taking a knee, the toe's there. You can kick on a door or whatnot. It's waterproof.
You should know that you never kick a toe in with your or kick a door in with your toe.
That's right. You full on.
You donkey kick it.
Yeah, exactly.
Although I do appreciate it when people straight kick it like that and their foot goes through.
Right. Well, that's why we put the rubber toe there.
I'm 100% there for that happening.
Right.
Assuming that there is not like a crazy person, like a clown on the other side with an axe cutting your leg off.
Right.
I have no problem with somebody getting their foot stuck through a hollow core door.
Yeah, a hollow core, exactly. Yeah.
You know what the thing for me that always happened with the Solomons is the tread on the bottom vaporizes.
Right. Did you get a pair of those?
Yep.
I think I got a pair. Yeah.
For me, honestly,
dark brown.
in the summertime, I'm flip flops.
No, stay away because it's got a membrane in there, not the G word, GORE.
Yeah.
But it has a other membrane. We didn't use any Gore and or Vibram.
Yeah.
Just because you pay for that name.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like I use the analogy of you go to the supermarket, you have Betty Crocker, you have Duncan Hines and Ghirardelli brownie mix. They're all brownies, but they're a little different recipe.
Yeah.
We use some really good sticky rubbers. So.
Yeah, for me, the Solomons, the soles, it was like they were an F1 tire. I mean, they'd last you a couple laps, but those things just came apart.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you had basically, I mean, they looked nothing like ice skates, but all that, the weird geometric, it almost looked like a cat food little thing. They're just gone.
Yeah.
But when you're at a place that has a cool budget.
Well, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
who is this psychopath on this Instagram one here?
You know that is Jamie. Is it Caldwell?
I think so. Click on that.
Former
Michael.
CAG guy.
Straight down.
With the box.
The only one with the picture of the face.
Yeah. So I mean, that's from his.
You're at a 10, sir. I need you to 7.
No, but he's a former CAG guy, and I sent some boots to him. So that's just I don't know how that popped up, but it's probably from a post that he did on Instagram. But he's a big fisherman now too. So we're doing a new shoe that he'll be wearing called the Pirata. It's pirate in Italian, like kind of like.
How do you come up with these names?
Well, it's my technical designer was like me, as a cyclist, and there was some Italian guy called the Pirata.
So here's what we'll do. We'll do a lightweight version of the Vans type shoe.
Right. Okay.
We'll do Coyote version and OD green. It'll be called Cock and then Balls,
There
and
you
you'll
go,
put them side by side.
Cock and ball.
Yeah.
Cock and
See, this. I mean, to me,
I like
Michael, you would buy that.
Well, so here,
would.
well, you'll like this. So, one of our, our irreverent marketing ideas, but we would donate all of it to charity, is to start an OnlyFans page, an OTB OnlyFans page. But we don't know how it's going to make money. But doing,
What? Here's where you're going to get inundated with things that you don't want, because you can solicit for foot content
exactly, well,
from users, and you're not going to like what you get.
Well, I could get, literally the entire 75th Ranger Regiment just holding it, covering their naughty bits. I don't know. We want something
Here's
that's
the
going
thing, half of them wouldn't be.
Well, true, but something that's going to be tongue-in-cheek, comical, irreverent, but, and we'd put all the money to charity. So that's,
I think there's better ways.
yeah. But yeah, it's like, because we actually Googled like who's using OnlyFans. I guess I think Liquid Death is trying, and a few others.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I think there's a few other brands that are experimenting with OnlyFans, and how do you do that?
It is certainly a newer genre.
Right. Yeah.
What a weird utilization of the internet where anybody could become. I'll be honest, I've never been on the website. I don't know exactly what they do.
I was in Key West visiting with some of the dive lockers down there. I'm at a noodle place, and there are two, let's say, working women in front of me.
Yeah.
Talking about their page. I wish I had another person with me just to roll eyes together.
I'm not going to hate on anybody for how they choose to live their life.
No, they were talking about feet pictures. That
Yeah.
they were and I make more on my black socks than my white sock. It was really interesting. It was an education.
I'm going to give you a website that you can check out on your own time.
Yeah.
Michael, what was it? Foot fetish. What we pulled this up.
It was
one time on
Foot Finder, Feet Finder maybe.
Listen,
I don't know if I want to do
on
that.
an anonymous browser.
I'm a shoe guy. I'm not a foot guy.
Well, you know what goes into shoes, right? So can't have one without the other.
Right.
Go put it in whatever they call the privacy mode on your browser, and head on over to it's either FootFinder or FeetFinder.com. There are more categories than you would expect.
Well, that's what I would learn from this, listening to the table next to me. I was really like, ooh.
There's, I think there was one for heels, stockings, socks, but then it gets a little bit weird.
Oh, yeah.
Stinky feet.
How do you
dirty feet?
I'd love to know how you get that smellorama. Is
I
it on the
would
internet?
assume that they're waffle stomping shit of some kind and then taking a picture of that so your brain can fill in the break.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not saying that'd be a great marketing sector for OTB, but maybe get some banner space on their web.
Well, yeah, but again, we're just chuckling like, how do we
hey guys, you like feet? We do too.
We got some
Let's link up.
We got some pretty, some of the guys in the 75th Ranger Regiment who we've come to befriend in a good way are comical. As can be.
Yeah.
Comical AF. And they even say, "Oh, we got some great ideas for that." So, but we'll see.
Keep them from getting fired.
Right.
On that entrepreneurial journey, if you look back, is there one thing that sticks out as the hardest thing you had to, hardest hurdle you had to get over or around?
A lot of things. I've done a lot of entrepreneurial things, like to kind of make hay in the middle. A lot of consulting. I've done a lot of military stuff throughout it to get to where OTB, and that probably got me to where it is. So, the brand AKU or AKU.
No.
Yeah, if you pull up, Michael, AKU, NS594.
Jesus.
AKU, NS954, or 964. Yeah, there you go. So,
564 or 964?
We'll see it 564.
564.
Right. So that shoe right there, I put together with the Italian. So
looks a lot like a La Sportiva.
Well, Aku is an Italian brand, so I was contacted by the Army secret guys and saying, "Hey, we need a shoe." Yeah. And that looks not like American, and we need 300 of them. So I went in their command. It was pretty cool. Actually, Brad Thomas.
I know the name.
Yeah, he was in Black Hawk Down. He was a ranger at the time for that. But then
why wouldn't they just COTS that?
What's that?
Why wouldn't they just get a credit card out non-attributed with that command and just pay for it?
This
way?
was a special makeup for him. So
Okay.
I brought in a bunch of different Akus and models and said, if you take this part from here, we kind of missed a potato
so
head.
they had particular requirements. They were
Well,
looking
yeah.
for.
So they wanted. So anyway, we came up with this, and we did it, and then it really got that brand into military and tactical. So then after CAG War, SBS, SAS, it's quite big. If you go to the website aku.it, they have a whole new whole military lineup or tactical lineup that they now do. I mean, in the middle of that, so I've got them go in the corner, hit up the or the British flag in the right corner instead of the Italian flag.
Make Michael do it in Italian. Italiano.
English. And yeah, there you go. But,
first off, I haven't been to your website, but please do not have this many little pop-ups show up. I absolutely despise the assholes that do that.
We don't do that.
Oh man, that's almost a Solomon-esque shoe
Well, yeah,
right there too.
But they, if you go up into men, there and then
Haku, I have not heard of this brand.
yeah, so they're go to either professional maybe. No,
Left. It's one of the yep. Military 3 over.
Yeah, there you go. So they've
Hit deny on that damn cookie thing, Michael, on
Yeah.
the bottom. Deny.
far right.
Don't view the preferences. Deny.
Yeah. So that one. So now
God,
here's
that second one is such an Italian-looking shoe.
right. But so here's the funny thing is, see the NS564.
Yeah.
So when I did it, I couldn't. They said, "Who's it for?" I just said the Special Forces. So they immediately thought, and this is really funny, they thought it was for the Navy SEALs. So they gave it the NS number when it was for CAG. So they kind of chuckled at that.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So anyway, it was pretty funny. So they got him into that. So I've done that in my entrepreneurial journey to kind of pay for stuff along the way. I had a contract with the Armor Swiss to upgrade their military footwear. Even though they're a neutral country, they have a military. Everyone in Switzerland is in the military.
Compulsory service, yeah.
Yeah, most guns per capita in the world, actually.
Really?
Yeah, because every you have to have a gun at the door. Take up arms.
Okay.
So
Against everybody or anybody in particular?
anyone
they're
that comes
trained
in,
for?
yeah. So
What if it's other Swiss people?
they would shoot them, I guess. 'Cause it's also because of that. I think it's one of the highest suicide rates too. But
Well, if you are choosing to go down that path, using a tool designed to take life is probably a good option.
yeah, exactly. So that's an interesting fact there. But yeah, so I worked with the Armor Swiss, but it's comical, working with Natick or DEVCOM, you have to practically have a full body cavity search to get in there. And I go in, the guy's like feet up reading the newspaper. I said, I'm here to see, Stefan, come on in. But I met with the Air Force, all 7 pilots. It was pretty funny. But it was a fun project. And then I also had a year with His Majesty King Abdullah doing footwear upgrades to the Jordanian military.
I never have spent any time thinking about the size of the ecosystem that you work in, but it seems like it's massive.
Well, here's the deal. There's not a lot of guys doing it, and you get found out. And
How have you maintained your passion for this for so long?
I just love making footwear.
What is the favorite pair of shoe you've ever had on? The one that's like the top of the heap of all, because I feel like you've had your hands on a lot of shoes.
Yeah. So I get asked all the time, what's the best shoe?
It depends on what you're going to do with it.
True, but my answer is it's not. I said it's not OTB. I said it's the one that fits. I mean, comically it sounds stupid.
Yeah.
Because one of the things, now getting back to OTB, we really worked hard on the fit, on the last. The shoe last is the form. Yeah. So we really have a good last.
Is it true that Nike shoes are narrow because most of their shoes are made off of Prefontaine's last, or originally they were?
No, I have to concur that Nike has a narrower fit. I think to their fault right now.
Yeah, might be an urban legend. I heard that was associated with the first last they took.
So here's a true story. I mean, so when they developed their stuff back in the day in New Hampshire, because they were all people that were learning shoemaking, and a lot of them were ex-jocks. And they, you learn from doing. They also looked at the father of sport footwear, Adidas, and they copied a lot of the last from Adidas. But, I mean, I'm talking back in the Exeter days. So, I mean, as the moniker said, you know, the last is first in shoemaking. So if you have a good last, you have a great fit.
Yeah.
So that's what we really focus on, is that, you know, because again, especially for military guys, or if they're rucking, at the end of the day, their feet are wider. So we make our last a full fitting, not wide, but we do have wides as well.
Yeah.
So just, again, knowing your customer, listening to what their needs are. At the end of the day, I don't want to, you know, be peeling myself out of the shoes. So
I did appreciate when Reebok was designing the shoes for CrossFit. I had no experience with a barefoot last. I did like how it felt with the wider toe box, but again, not for every activity.
Yeah.
But kick around, just cruising through daily life, I actually kind of appreciated it. It felt better on my feet.
Right now, if you go to any military installation, one of the biggest shoes out there is Ultra, A-L-T-R-A. Wide foot, you know, it's an ergonomic fit. Kind of looks goofy, clown foot, little Fred Flintstone. But pretty good fit if you get it, you know, for the wide guys. I mean, in 33%, as the DoD tells us, are wide in the military.
You never answered what's your favorite shoe.
Oh, so what's my favorite shoe? You know, it's funny. A few, I guess. Growing up, the waffle trainer from Nike was like, that was like, today it's...
Pull that up, Michael. I gotta see
the
this.
Nike waffle trainer. If you
Is this based off the original him putting rubber into a waffle?
Pretty much so.
A waffle machine?
So
Because that's how he did the original soles.
yeah.
Right?
So
oh man, this is a classic.
yeah. I mean, it's
yeah. Just hit Nike waffle shoes, Michael. One down.
or
Do you want me to look up like the older ones?
yeah, because it's not it's pretty similar to
Good 19.
but that's like, that was technical at the time. I mean, it was just a die-cut EVA thing. So that, to me, was like, you know, it was super expensive at the time.
Michael, scroll down. I'm curious the price of these shoes.
Well, yeah, but...
Vintage blue Nike shoes, men's size 9.
yeah, they're...
Made in Korea in 70s and 80s. Look like they've been worn every day since then.
Yeah.
$112.49, Michael.
Not bad.
Not bad.
But so that was like what kind of got me into it. And I had a few pairs, and I literally would like take an X-Acto and, like, you know, take the stitching out and figure out how the backing and how they were. I just, you know, at least thankfully it was that and not high heels. But
yeah.
But
I'm not here to judge.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, right? But yeah, so that's what got me really into it. I've had some good, you know, again, because I eat, sleep, and drink OTB, I wear a lot of that T-Cool shoe. I like it for kicking around today.
Well, what are you passionate about outside of footwear? What else do you like to do?
Cycling. I'm a cyclist. You know, I used to run. Body doesn't do it. I actually used to do a lot of paddling. I used to race kayaks.
Stand-up paddleboards or seated?
I have a supboard that I actually made. Like during COVID, it was great because, again, I mentioned I live on a houseboat. When everything was shut down, I could go dead nuts across Boston Harbor. No one would be there but me.
God, that was such a wild time.
Yeah, and paddle too.
I was in L.A. when it shut down, the night that it shut down. And
yeah.
When my wife and I went from L.A. to not all the way to the Tijuana border in San Diego, but I'll call it southernish San Diego in a time I had never seen. It was eerie. Like, are we shooting a movie about the apocalypse right now?
Right. Yeah, it was wacky. I mean, I would get in the sup almost every day, or my kayak, and just I could, you know, being an older gentleman, I would have to use the restrooms a lot. I could just go to any dock and just go. So it was pretty good because no one was out.
Yeah.
And so it was, it was a wild time. Yeah. So I mean, so cycling and paddling, or I haven't done a lot of paddling lately because I snapped the old wrist in a nice little Superman bike accident.
Yeah.
Superman over the. So just getting back there, but still getting the bike. That's the sucky part about living in the city. When I lived in the south of Boston, you know, I had beautiful places to ride. And getting out of the city, not too fun.
Do you have anything else in your life you've been as passionate about as footwear? Or is there any other thing that you have devoted, maybe not as much energy, but it's had as much interest for you, or has it always just been footwear?
No. I mean, things that, you know, I get into, like, I get cycling and kayaking. Those two where I used to race. I used to get up every morning and I would paddle for 2 hours plus every day. during my Reebok time. I was a Patagonia Pro. I used to do a lot of testing for them. I'd get 10 shells and say, we need feedback in 2 weeks. And because I was a product engineer guy, I gave them fastidious details. So they would send you. It was really cool, and they did it because they don't want you to wear them out. You get like one that was like pink and brown, right? So in a sense, you're testing 2 garments in one. It was kind of cool.
It's actually a good idea.
Yeah, it was a brilliant idea. And I'd be out, and I'd stop, and I'd have to take it off. How much sweat's in here? How much sweat's in this side? And report back.
They loved you.
Oh, big time. Oh, yeah. I was featured in one of their catalogs once. But yes,
I would send it back like, don't like the color.
Yeah,
They're like,
right.
that's not.
Well,
where...
the pink and brown, it could have been. It's like perfect Dunkin' Donut color. If it only had orange in it, it'd be great. But yeah, so that was a big one, and then then getting big into cycling. So one of my buddies who was at Vans got me into cycling when we were at Audi together, and so did a lot of cycling. Done enough. I'm outdoor, like adventure race, a lot of camping and stuff in the past. So.
What are you going to do after OTB?
Good question. Hopefully, if it goes well, I'll be able to buy my little dream house on the water somewhere, with a garage, and probably build some boats. That's what I mean. I built my own SUP. So it's kind of an interesting story. Before New Balance, when we were in the midst of trying to sell it, my then wife got a job as a professor. She couldn't find one in the States, so she took a job in KSA. I was going to go with her. And then after the company got sold, she goes, no, I'm still going to go. I'm like, well, you don't have to now. We got this pretty good salary, and we're all set. Anyway, she went. And my kids did too. They were at the British International School. I was going about every 6 weeks. I had a lot of business in the Gulf. But during that time, I was alone, so I really got into like wooden boat building. I made a beautiful SUP board. And I've always, I was a tinkerer. Growing up, my grandfather was a cabinet maker, and my dad was an engineer. So kind of learned the wood shop, so to speak. So I would love to build more like boats, or just work with wood, furniture and stuff like that.
I don't see you being the kind of person that's going to retire on a porch swing with a cup of tea and a magazine. No,
I'll always do something. I mean, I mentioned earlier, literally, it crushes me that all these lobbyists within the military footwear thing are like pushing this giant Made in America Act. Trust me, I love Made in America. We love everything to be made here. But they've got to start from the root cause. A new last, new specifications for leather, new textile, allowing different materials, because it's literally like between 1960 and 1980 spec.
Yeah. And
if you made a better boot, these guys wouldn't be buying an OTB or a Nike. Nike makes a military boot, or so literally.
They need to have a more realistic expectation for velocity of those things returning too.
Well, here's the problem.
It's not going to happen in Trump's term.
Oh, so it's never going to. I hate to say this. So
if it were to, let's say we could set it on that course and at an optimal level. There's not even the machinery available in a lot of these things in the country, let alone people trained on them how to use them.
Exactly. So I go to I'm part of the DoD footwear committee. Every 6 months, we get together, and it's pretty much electric carts and walkers. I'm a young guy. I'm in my 60s, and I'm young at this meeting. So there's no one. I'm like the last guy that that knows shoemaking. Mm-hmm. So if you go to the U.S. Boot manufacturers today, there's not a lot of young guys in there, not at all. So there's really there's not a lot of. Some of the Berry compliant companies are upgrading their equipment. And they make a good product to the spec that's out there. It's the spec that's bad. They're making good quality stuff, but it's heavy. The rubber's thick. There's only one supplier, Vibram. They have a monopoly. Mm-hmm. So yeah, honestly, I would love to work on that. Kind of a pet project just to make U.S. boots better. I kind of like.
I'm friends with Pete from Origin. the founder and CEO of Origin, and he talks about they make a boot up there.
Yeah,
not a tactical boot. It's
afterwards I want to get up there and find out where exactly they are. I'd love to see their stuff.
I think it's Farmington.
Is it okay?
Yeah. It's basically the middle of Delaware.
Yeah.
Which is by definition.
That's where I learned shoemaking. So
well, they make boots, and I'm paraphrasing what Pete has told me, so people don't hold me to this exactly.
I know the line, so it's a stitch down. Yeah, it's a nice boot.
Well, they found the last guy who knew how to use the machine,
right?
And he had to pass that knowledge on, and he did. And I believe they filmed a bunch of videos, and then he taught somebody, and he recently passed.
Yeah.
Had they not found that guy, you could have found that machine, but you wouldn't
be able to use it.
And that's the problem that I'm friends with Josh Smith down at Montana Knife Company.
Right,
we were down there, and he is all about trying to bring manufacturing back into the U.S. And one of the things he's bouncing up with it was a couple pieces of machinery. Was it a polisher? It was something. But the machine itself is not made in the U.S.,
Correct.
so he's going to have to buy it and import it, which he's willing to do.
Right.
But then he might be staring down the barrel of a 30 to 50% tariff on top of that, and that's stopping him in his tracks.
Right.
Because that's a hell of a lot of capital
that might be going away as of today. I mean, so
what's going on today?
Well,
because it might be back tomorrow. Well, actually, tomorrow's a Saturday, so probably not.
The lower courts,
or whatever the hell the day is.
Yeah, the lower courts have ruled the tariffs are illegal.
Yeah, but
and Trump has said he's going to the Supreme Court now, so that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, but and then and a lot of people are complaining about this. Although it is painful, and I'm not enjoying it either, I'm glad to see this level of checks and balances working itself out, because at least to me, the machine is somewhat functioning. I'm not saying it's like cranking in fifth gear and optimally,
right?
But these challenges, this doesn't bother me. Where it nets out is really interesting. But a guy like Josh, I mean, he's investing millions into his facility, and he's looking at this like, hey, man, I'm trying to do what you are messaging for us to do, but you're financially punishing me for doing this.
And the same thing. So if you look at U.S. Auto industry, right? You know, American built, American trucks, you know, the F-150. Get the parts list, right?
Yeah.
It's Canada, it's Mexico, it's Asia. So, I mean, it's just assembled, even though so the same, there's all kinds of buffoonery in the footwear laws about what you can call made in USA.
Apparel as well. If it passes through enough steps in the United States, it can then be called American made, but it's not.
So there's a company, a work boot company, I almost don't want to name them. They are taking U.S. hides, so U.S. leather. There's not a lot of tanneries left. There's like 2, basically, kind of 3. And they send it to China, do all the cutting and assembly there, bring it back, and put it together with an American flag stitched on, and it says Made in USA.
That, I believe, should have a label. You're free to have a label if you want, but I don't know if it should be that one.
So New Balance has something, it's unofficially called the New Balance rule. They say that if 70% of the cost of the shoe is done in America, we can put a Made in America. And no one's gone against that. So they do a lot of what within the industry is called lick and stick. They take the upper and attach the bottom, like lick and stick. So that's in the shoe business. So they do a lot of that. Their Made in USA product, a lot of it's just lick and stick.
So the sticker should say made-ish.
No, it should say assembled. So it has to say assembled.
Yeah, that's actually fair.
So Keen, which makes a good quality product, with the big toe, they just put a factory and they take their uppers. They make a lot of uppers in India, though they just got jacked with 50% tariffs on the uppers, and they inject them, put the soles on in the States. So they've got a workforce down there. The biggest problem. So I'm friends with a lot of the U.S. boot makers and the military. Their biggest problem is labor. You can't get the labor. I mean, and they don't stick around. Because again, I'm sure my kids are older than your kids, I think. But my kids, I'm sure.
My youngest is 17, oldest will be 22.
Yeah, so I'm 29, 27.
Yep.
But they didn't graduate saying, "Hey, I want to work in a shoe factory."
I don't know if I could get my kids to do that.
Right. No, not many people today. I mean, if you go into I'm working with a company right now this one, actually. I didn't wear that because of
Outdoor Research.
we're making an
Hard to read it because it's camo.
Right. You didn't even know I'm wearing a shirt. So we're doing an overboot, for the winter, and they've got a great factory, but a lot of their workers weren't American born. Mm-hmm. If you go to Cry, where I respect those guys immensely, their whole staff, stitching staff, and they're not American born.
That, I think, finding something other than that would be anomalous.
Right. Yeah. I mean, most stitching, like you go to anywhere in LA, it's all, it's probably a lot of, Hispanic people. Mm-hmm. But in any event, there's not a lot of people that want to do that work in the States. That's the thing. It's like, we got to bring jobs back. No one really wants to do it.
I wonder if there's a role. I mean, is that where AI can come in and fill that role? And I don't have an answer to this by any stretch.
So when I was working for VF, I was director of engineering, and the job was really automate the F out of this process. Mm-hmm. It's because that's the most expensive part is the labor. I mean, they would take pennies out. Granted, I mean, for instance, they owned JanSport, and that one little backpack that everyone wears going to school, the FOB was like $4, literally. Yeah. And it was like, we got to take, they're making gazillions of them. Just save me 3 pennies.
Yeah, that multiplied by a large number is a large number.
Huge, yeah. So, I mean, that's in a sense, you have to take that back in the States because, for, let's say, Vans, any vulcanized shoe, meaning like a Vans or a Converse, it's called, it's a tape, a rubber tape that goes around the sole. There's a lot of labor of putting that tape on. Yeah. So, when I was there was one of the biggest factory that makes both, actually. Guy was smart. He was a Taiwanese guy. He was trying to literally using robots to try to do that. So, they're getting smart and trying to take as much out, or making computer stitching where they can. Yeah. But it's still a lot. You saw there's a lot of hand labor involved.
An incredible amount. And this was many years ago. I don't know how much
not much.
Okay.
No, I mean they're inching along making it, but it's still. I mean the cutting. If you remember the cutting dies. Yeah. They're now doing a lot of that with laser cutting. Like they'll put all the material down and from above and so stuff like that. It's more accurate, but footwear is a very labor intensive item.
Man, what a hell of a journey.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by people's entrepreneurial experiences. I've yet to meet anybody who has said, "Oh yeah, just totally went as planned and not really any speed bumps. It was just all growth and profit and felt like coasting a bicycle downhill the entire time."
So I mean, I had to, I want to say fail, but fumble a few times to get to where we are. Know what we did wrong the first few times, but along the way, I still had other stuff. I mean, so I've always wanted to, I guess, be entrepreneurial. So one of the things also at Reebok, when I was overseeing the outdoor division. From a development perspective, the guy said, "Hey, we're going to make climbing shoes," and I'm like, "I live in this world." I said, "I'm like, I'm a big ocean paddler. I hike, I climb." I said, "No one wants to wear a Reebok climbing shoe."
No.
So he goes, "Oh, we're going to do it."
Must have had a pump.
Yeah, right. So he signed up at the time the Alex Honnold of climbing. This guy Todd Skinner, and we put together one of the most beautiful climbing shoes, and made in the La Sportiva factory in Italy, and just beautiful. But the worst thing about it was the name. Who the hell wants? So anyway, that marketing guy left. The shoes sat. So it didn't go anywhere. So I ended up scooping them up from Reebok. I got a sign, and I got to sell them on the internet when the internet was starting, 97. I registered climbingshoes.com.
Early adopter.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, you couldn't get that moniker today. So at night I'd be answering the emails, and I had a fulfillment house.
So you've had this in you your whole life.
I've always, I had wanted to do something. Yeah, kind of itchy like that.
Man, some people have it and some people don't. Yeah. And I don't know why that is the case. I think you're out of the box with that drive.
Yeah. Just, well, it gets back to the, being happy that I'm not dealing with in a meeting with 45 people and the loudest, which is the most knuckleheaded person. You just want to get away from that.
If you guys think you could do 10 million this year, what would your projections be for 26, 27? What's your goal, I should say? What would you like to get it to in those years?
So we're projected to double almost in the next 3 years.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. What we have. So yeah, we're really looking good. I mean, we haven't even really tapped international. We've got a few folks signed up for that. We have this new which you hate, the pirata name, the pirate.
I don't hate it.
I know it. No.
I just am curious where they come from.
Yeah, so the Italian for pirate. But anyway, when that comes out, kind of an upgrade to that Altam issue, that they sell almost anywhere at the time it was like 80 to 100,000 a year. It's going to be a big one for us.
Wow.
So because it works well in the water, but a lot of if you haven't been to the good old SHOT Show.
Oh, I've been many times.
I know. Recently.
Yeah. No, I don't ever want to.
That's
return.
where we met.
Yeah, I don't ever want to return.
Oh, that's why. I don't know if you remember. I sent you the cart traffic.
Oh, it's insane.
Oh, it's not fun. But
and how do those cart people get the passes to attend that? I don't understand.
It's
not supposed to be a looky-loo. It's supposed to be for consumer and vendor,
or
not even consumer and vendor. Basically, end user and vendor. And you're not supposed to be able to do any business there, even though, of course, business gets done. But
I think they the last few years they've cracked down. So it used to be, I'm not anti-gun. I'm not a gun person, but almost anyone could get I'm a gun dealer, and with that you got entrance to the SHOT Show.
Yeah.
So with that, you had a lot of guys that were just working in their garage on filing their weapons. So. And they really, I guess, you now have to, prove sales and all that. So it's really cut down on the riffraff. I mean, the guys pulling the milk cartons.
You watch them; they just go booth to booth, and all they're there for is what does this particular
stickers?
What are you giving away for free?
Right.
It's mints, but I see that your shopping cart already is full of mints. So
well, yeah, it's catalogs. Which today it's QR code, dude.
Seriously, I'm not put the cost into actual physical product.
Right. So you can take the QR code and save it on your phone. You can look at it anywhere, or then transfer that to your computer. So so we do that, but yeah, it's a necessary evil. But we're going to have a bigger booth this year. We've got a bigger international presence. A lot of folks. Been knocking on our door, which is nice, coming to us.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear it.
All over. So, it's I wake up pretty happy. I'm in a very, very nice relationship. That's smoking big time. I've been a great, business is going great. So, life's pretty good right now.
Hell yeah.
Kids
We've been at it for a few hours, man. Let's get you out to Montana. Yeah. What do you want to leave people with? Here's a good suggestion where they can find and buy your boots.
Oh, OTBBoots.com.
Yep.
But I guess just listening to my story where I talked way too much.
That's the point. The guest is supposed to talk.
True, and as my mother, dearly departed mother, would say, Danny, you've got diarrhea of the mouth and constipation of the brain. But there are hurdles along the way. If you got a plan, as I tell my kids, you can do anything. Really, just get a plan and follow it. It's not.
I pair that with a willingness to continue working regardless of what happens.
Well, yeah, and you will fail at that stuff.
Because plans, let me tell you, as somebody who's written a few that didn't work out so well, it was the willingness to change when needed, but also to continue working when things sucked that see you towards that end goal.
Well, yeah, whether it be, I was never in your shoes militarily, but if you've got a good plan, if shit goes haywire, you've got to,
Well, in your good plan, you'll have a primary, alternate, contingency.
Right.
Emergency, also known as a PACE plan.
Right. You got to know. Yeah, we have a lot of the what if scenarios now.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of those.
Those are what actually eat your lunch. Most of the time, the big moving pieces aren't as variable as the what ifs.
Yeah. So we spent a lot of the last probably 6 months. Which I hate. It's the worst part is raising capital.
Yeah. Necessary evil, it sounds like, in what you're doing, though.
Yeah, but, again, it's the OPM method, other people's money. I'm not trying to, waste their money because I really want to return my investors' money. I'm as passionate as they are.
Well, it sounds like you're on track to be able to do so.
Yeah, we're pretty happy. I think so. It's definitely, quite frankly, it's working better than we thought. So it's good.
A lot of people live on the socials these days. What's the best social for OTB?
It's On Instagram, I think we're OTB_Boots. I'm pretty sure.
That would be a good one for you guys.
Yeah, because there was an OTB Boots that it's out there, but it's an old one. So I think it's OTB_Boots on Instagram. Between that and that's really our biggest right now. We're on Facebook, OTB Boots, and then our website. So,
any final thoughts you want to leave people with?
Thanks for having me. No, like I said, if you want to do something, just get a plan. You got it. So
it's going to be a little harder than that, people.
Yeah,
but I like the optimism. Awesome, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.